Medications, they're costly, they're needed for a lot of different things. And there are some ways of saving money. Hi, this is G.H. Glade for Coaching ADD. And this was actually the very first video that I made, and the production value was terrible. And so I'm redoing it, but I have even more information this time around. So let's get started with talking on how you can save money on medications. First of all, let's start with name brand medications. These are sometimes atrociously expensive in the US market. In other markets, they are far, far less. One of the things that all medications, and this isn't just mental health medications, the price is high, but they offer a discount coupon. Nobody would pay $6, $7, or more $100 to have a medication. It's untenable. But let's examine how it works, because Big Pharma is not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. If a medication costs, shall we say, $1 to produce, $30 for a month's supply, they will often charge sometimes thousands for that same medication. So they arrange a discount card. Bear in mind, insurance companies do not pay full price. The price that insurance companies do pay leaves plenty of meat on the bone for Big Pharma. And Big Pharma wants that insurance money because it's still pretty generous. But they offer you a discount coupon that takes your copay, your out-of-pocket, down to something a lot more reasonable, anywhere from $15 to $40. What Big Pharma gets to do is they get to deduct the full retail value against their taxes. And you can imagine this is a hugely potent way to shelter big profitability. It's amazing how little tax Big Pharma pays on billions of dollars in revenue. The door is open for them to save huge money. So name brand, of course, they're more expensive. Your insurance company doesn't want to spend money, and so they're going to largely mandate you use a generic first. When a drug goes to generic, the patent has expired. One company gets exclusivity to produce that for 6 months. The price isn't necessarily going to go down during that time. And after that 6 months, other generics can come onto the market. Now, I advise all of my clients to keep track of their generics, because generics in this country can vary in potency up to 40%. And that is huge. I don't know what world where a 40% tolerance is acceptable, except maybe throwing hand grenades. Anyway, so you have this generic. It may be more or less potent than the next generic. It pays to keep track. We get bad generics on the market. There are some notable ones that come from India and China. One non-mental health medication actually had glass fragments in it. And there is a reporting system for providers like myself to call out bad drugs where people get bad reactions. There are different binders, there are different formulas for making it. What comes off patent is the molecule and not how to make it. So let's travel to your retail pharmacy. And here's where I'd like you to weigh in and give your input. Retail pharmacies have no rules on what they can charge for the same medication. And this can vary enormously. I would love you to share in the comments, what's the biggest range you found going to different pharmacies for the same medication? I did sort of a comparison with Costco, which is, we all know what Costco is, heavens, for a med for my dog. He is on an old school seizure med, and it has been there forever. A 90-day supply for this medication ran me about $18. When I took it to my local retail pharmacy, Rite Aid, that same medication went up to $80 for a 1-month supply. When I took it to another pharmacy, Walgreens, That went up to $120 for a 1-month supply. And we'll get into some of the mail order pharmacies. I now get it from one of these mail order pharmacies, which I'll talk about later, and I pay $6 for a 3-month supply. We'll talk about those later. So I'd like you to weigh in the comments on what's the biggest price disparity you've personally experienced in purchasing your medications. Bottom line, it pays to shop around. Now, when we look at the discount coupons, that's one way you can save on any name brand medication. One way to save, and unfortunately the caveat is you need to have insurance of some kind. And this can be things like Obamacare. The only one that I've found that really works is the Good RX coupon. And I'll have a reference to that URL in the show notes down below. This one actually saves people money on generics. And I advise before you pick up any of your medications, you download one of these free coupons and you take it with you when you fill your meds, because it will save you money. Now let's get into some real cost savings. I discovered the generic mail order pharmacies quite by accident. And my first venture into that was something called Honeybee Health Pharmacy. There are some restrictions because they are a ton cheaper than even using your insurance. I found that, they're just enormously less expensive, but they only do generic medications and they do not do controlled substances, which takes out some of the mental health meds and of course the pain medications and whatnot. Those have much more in the way of rules and restrictions on prescribing. So anything that's a controlled substance, they aren't going to handle it. But that leaves a whole bunch left over in terms of medications. I will list a number of these pharmacies and go ahead and peruse, because I suspect they have some price differences too. It pays to shop around, and that is something that everyone should do when it comes to buying medications. So if this has been a helpful program for you, it's going to be helpful for someone else. Somebody you know and love who would probably like to share in the information that will save them money. So please share this information. Let's get this information out in the world, because we have such a broken healthcare system. And if you like this presentation, give me a thumbs up. I will see you next Monday when I release another video on coaching ADD. So this is GH Clay. You take care and you have a great day.